forces things to bloom, and it makes them bloom longer, makes them bloom bigger. So you get these like, I'll show you this pretty camellia here. It's starting to bloom. This is one of the first, aw, that was so close. I had it picked out and everything. Well, I got another one too, but this guy, earliest spring bloomer you can find, that's evergreen. Starting to pop off now, and they'll just be green for the rest of the year. But flower power would make these open up huge and make them open up with more color. You won't get that color fade as fast on things. So that's what this flower power does. It's a powder form, so you mix it in water, and then you just water it into your plants. So mostly for containers, cachet pots, things like that.
On the first feed of the season,
Mm-hmm.
isn't the second one 4th of July?
Yeah, so we go at March, like around Easter, we'd say March, Mother's Day, or no, sorry, let me start again. Easter, 4th of July, Halloween, New Year's.
So I always wonder where I am, like the correct frozen
Mm-hmm.
Mother's Day. So do I skip the first feeding, or do I feed it, and then do I push the 4th of July one back 2 months?
So what I would do is if we got a storm coming, so if you've got snow there already, if a storm's coming, that's when I would do it, because it will kind of help get it back into the ground, because it will just lay over it and then it'll melt down into it. I still wouldn't miss that first feeding, but you can still throw that out and it will still get into your soil and it will still help. Yeah, because they will just melt right down in there. Yeah. Yeah. It's a camellia. So it's a shade plant, can't handle that afternoon sun in the summer, so mostly better under pines, but it is one of your early spring bloomers. And I got red and one white over there as well. This is the only one that's kind of blooming. So Easter, 4th of July, Halloween, New Year's.
Oh, not Mother's Day.
No, sorry, that's because it's March and then July. My bad. I always think Mother's Day because that's when everything you can plant, you can do everything during Mother's Day. So I get excited. Last couple of products, and then we'll start going into plants. This is why you're here and the fun stuff. And we've been pushing these for months too. So Aqua Boost, anything new you plant, this will help maintain moisture so you don't have to water as much. It also helps aerate the ground with the increase in size and decrease of the molecules. It helps with aeration, and it also helps feed your soil. If you've been hearing us, there's nothing alive in our soil. There's nothing moving, nothing even remotely alive. If you haven't taken care of it, most of our soil here is not alive. So you have to do something to feed that ground, whether that's humic. This feeds the ground. It is not a fertilizer. I can lift it. I meant to get a box. All it does is it feeds your soil. So it will help bring out earthworms. It'll help bring mycorrhizals. I got a lazy tongue, okay? It's that southern in my dad from me, okay? So this feeds your soil. This does as well, and this feeds your plant. So you got your meat potatoes, your additives. It will all help, and it takes several years. This isn't just a one and done, your soil's great. It's a process over time. You're here, it probably takes 3 to 5 years to get your soil where you need it to be for the area. So if you haven't noticed, we're very alkaline. 8, 9, you want to try and get it down to 7, you'll never make 6 here. If you guys read the books and are all into it, yeah, you know, you will never get to 6. You have 7.2, 7.4 is where you can try and get. Most people around here are at 8 zone. So enough about, any questions on these products before I start moving into plants? Oh, I'll talk about this guy, sorry. Oh, this is Aqua Boost. So they're water crystals, and they help maintain moisture when you're planting a tree, anything like that. Yeah, I would do both. No, because they're not strong enough to overwhelm anything. The last product here, anything newly planted that you have, I would start out with this and you move into the all-purpose. So this product is a low rooting hormone. We make it, it's fermented tea, and then we package it and stuff. So this is great for your newly planted stuff. Helps them root out faster. It gets them better in their home right away. So if you're planting now, or especially in the summer, any of those extreme seasons, this just evens out the plant and keeps that stress level off of it when you plant it, and promotes that root. No, you mix it with water. It's like 2 ounces per cup or per foot of height of the tree. So you'll be doing quite a bit for trees, maybe 3 cups for shrubs, things like that. It tells you on here. Mix it with water, pour it in. It does smell, so it dissipates, but it does smell because it's that fermented tea. So it's nasty smelling, but lovely to use. All right, any other questions on these products before I move on? Okay, I'm gonna start this way and move in. So we're gonna start the sun stuff first, the fun stuff. I like to tell people, because a lot of people are new here, they've got new yards, things like that. We like to do 20-20, 20-20 things %. So you want 20% of your yard to be evergreens, things that will stay green year round. 20% to be deciduous, kind of things that die back and then come back in the summer, so you get those summer blooms. You want 20% to be trees and shrubs, things like mostly trees. You want a couple trees in your yard, no matter what size. And then you want 20% whatever you want. So if you're here for the winter and you move away in the summer, you want more evergreens. If you're here in the summer and you're gone in the winter, you want more blooming summer stuff. Crepe myrtles, butterfly bush, things like that. So 20% is free for all for you, however you want to do it. But we say 20% evergreens. You want some color. So we'll start with kind of the herby stuff. And lavender is included in this. I just didn't have any lavender, but it works the same way as rosemary. So these are 2 different types of rosemary, as you can tell. They both grow the same size, 6x4. This one's a little bit more spindly. This guy's a little fuller. So whatever you like. They are great evergreen. Nothing eats them. Insects rarely attack them. I've never seen insects on these guys. So there's a great plant. Most people kill them by overwatering them. So leave this sucker alone. Don't touch it, and it will live for you. If you got really clay soils, I mean, it's going to do its own thing. Just let it live on its own, and it'll be happy. Lavender is the same way here. With those 2, talking about those, you have to be very careful about which ones you get, because sometimes there's tons of varieties in these, especially lavender, and they'll sell ones that don't necessarily zone over here. So you have to look for the zone 7s, stuff like that. So with our stuff, you don't have to worry. We'll pull in things that live here, no problem. But there are some people that will sell you rosemary and stuff, and you'll think it will live here, but it won't, because it's not the right species and stuff. So you have to get the right ones for our area. Some people have fallen into that trap before. Don't do that. Another one is gopher plant and this rainbow ascot. This is a euphorbia. Gopher plant's a euphorbia as well. It's bluer, but this is an evergreen. So this will get its full height in like a year. It grows very, very fast when we get heat. It is a summer-loving heat. So this is winter color, this red, and it goes more green, yellow in the summer. It throws off flowers, but the flowers are the same color as these guys. But so it's just a great, you leave it in the ground, do not put irrigation on it. It will die if you do. Let it do its thing, but it gets kind of, I would say like 2-3 feet high, 2-3 feet wide. It's a nice little shrub. Nothing touches it, nothing eats it, nothing attacks it. It's a great hardy plant. You'll see us push this year round because it's one of my favorites. My mom's got it. She's got like gopher plant, rainbow ascot, gopher plant, and it looks fabulous. You'll see some die out in the winter in the center. Just cut that out and it will send up new blooms. 2 to 3 feet by 2 to 3 feet. It's kind of a short shrub. These guys, I brought him because he's a new variety we pulled in this year, so it's very exciting. These are Nandina or heavenly bamboo. I'll lift him up, you know. I just can't lift both. People either love these or they hate them. So you probably are decided upon seeing it, but I'll talk about it. This is its evergreen. It gets this color, more like this red color, orangey color in the fall. So as soon as that winter kicks in, it will start changing to this, and it goes more green in the summertime. So winter color. There's several varieties, several sizes. They can range. I think these guys are the smaller ones. Sienna. Yeah, these are the Sienna Gulfstream. So these get smaller. So 3x3, 3x4, things like that. I just brought the difference because this has bigger leaves. It's a little softer looking, whereas this is kind of a little less softer looking, not as vibrant. But this is our new plant variety we got this year. So it's kind of a cool one. I think it's our Firepower Heavenly Bamboo. So I get excited about new plants because, you know, you sell the same thing every day, all the time. You want something new. Yeah. Yeah. So they can kind of get, in my opinion, this is just me talking, they kind of get spindly sometimes when they get too big. They're not as full as they look when they're smaller. And I think it's just the look thing for people. They do throw off a red berry in the fall. Sometimes people don't like that. And they do have a white flower in the spring, but it's tiny, the cluster flowers. But people, I think it's just the look overall. Not that they're hard. They're not hard to take care of, minimal watering. But yeah, it's just the look.
I have taken one at night from the corner of my driveway. The right side, and it's beautiful. It turns bright red. It's bright red right now.
Yeah, no, it's great. When you get a cool like winter wind spot and it makes them really red, it's super pretty. Because if they don't get that winter color, I find that I'm looking at the same thing year round. I want you to change colors for me. So if you have a really windy spot that gets cold, that can handle it. It can handle that wind and all of that. Let's go more natives for a hot second. You've seen these before, but your manzanitas are going to start blooming here by March. As soon as we get some more consistent warm days, they send off these pink whitish flowers. This is the panchito, but all the manzanitas will flower and they all do these kind of flowers, the little clusters. Very hardy. If you've got clayish soil, which I'm sure most of you do, you want to raise it out of the ground about that much, about 6 inches or so, because it will drown itself. It does not like to stay wet in that clay. So no irrigation to it. Raise it out of the ground. Hand water it for a bit, but just leave it alone. Let it do its own thing. So manzanita is very hardy, does well. Full sun, if you can get it full sun, does the best. Doesn't like shade as much. But it's a great plant. It gets that red bark that everyone loves. Yeah, pollinators, they like those little buds and stuff. So it's just a great plant. This one only gets like 3 by 3. There's other ones that get 4 by 4, 5 by 5. We get them all in the summer. I got this guy. So any form of yucca, bright star, anything. This is just the more native one. This is what they look like year round. They might get some tinge of winter color, like orange or something. This is what it does. You're mostly getting it for the flower. This one is a red one. We also have brake light. We get yellow, things like that. Very, very bright, vibrant red, orange, and yellow. That's all you'll see is in that stalk. So it's just pretty for the flower and also hardy. If you don't want to be watering things in your garden, this is what you put in. So we've got these everywhere. For the most part, because we don't have a long enough season for it to bloom twice, you can maybe get it if you cut off. She said does it bloom more than once a year. Rarely does it. If you cut off that stem when it's dying, as the flower dies, you might be able to get another one, depending on our season, if we can stay warm longer. Don't have your landscapers cut these back. Landscapers want to cut these. Do not cut these. They will never grow right again. So just warning people, their landscapers like to do it. It's not a grass, it's yucca. I kind of already talked about these, but I'll talk about it a little bit more because you'll see these everywhere. This is a red tip photinia, just starting to come out with its new growth. All of its new growth is red, and then everything else is green, but it's a big shrub. People use this as hedges to block everything. So 8 feet tall, undefined wide, just gets big. Throws off some white cluster flowers in the spring. Photinia, Photinia. Yeah, Photinia. So great shrub plant. This is also a shrub hedge plant. So this will also get 8 feet tall, wide. Another blocker it's only green. It doesn't get the color change. But I find that this one has less fungal issues. If you've noticed these guys, they can get the black spot or that spotting from overwatering, which is not a problem. They come back from it, but this doesn't seem to get it as much. So that's kind of the difference I noticed between the two. And this one does naturally have a glossier finish. It doesn't right now, but it would have a glossier finish to it. It does. It's still a white cluster flower, but it's not super noticeable. This one too, flowers. Yeah. This one doesn't stink as much is what I've noticed. But yeah, this one does have a scent. First year I'd water it probably once every 10 days or so. But from that, once it's established, you just water maybe once or twice a month, depending on our weather. So. I mean, if you're planting in the summer, I mean, it depends on when you plant. If you plant in the summer, you're probably watering once a week, if not two. If you're planting now, you don't need to do that because you'll drown it. So we water them about every 2 days right now. And that's in a bucket, so yeah. Yeah, so that's the problem with you, because I'm sure irrigation feeds everything else, right? So, I mean, if it's doing fine and it looks fine, just leave it, let it do its thing. Otherwise, you got to either block a head onto it or cut off water for a little bit, things like that. So just keep an eye on it. Okay, these guys are my favorite. Sorry, any questions? Good? Okay. These are Oregon, I know, native here, they can become a weed, but they're very pretty and they're very hard to kill. So Oregon grape holly. Holly is just because of the name of the leaf, that's why they name it a holly, but it doesn't need the shade. It can be full sun out, or we have it under our pine tree. My dad cut the bottom off so you can see the trunk, and he planted a pine under it because they're very messy trees, and it just took off. So it can handle partial shade if you needed to, not a problem. So it gets this, I don't know if you can see it, this yellow flower. Let's see if I can show the class. Is it there? Good. So it gets this yellow flower. This is also a great pollinator as well. And it also feeds the birds, because once you get flowers, it gets the berries on it, and you will never ever get the berries because the birds will get it before you. But if you manage to get one, they're nice to eat. But it's a great feeder for the birds as well, if you like to do that. So the difference is basically just the color on these. This one stays more green. This one gets more purple. This will get more green in the summer. That's the difference. This is a little bit smaller in size, but put these on irrigation for a year and then take it off and never touch it again. They're great that way. The second thing is, though, they can take over a space. So we have to pull it out every year where we don't want it growing, because it wants to grow every which way. Just yank it out of the ground. Don't be nice about it. Just rip that sucker up and go, you're done. If it's growing where you don't want it to grow. So that's the only thing with these guys. You'll also see the spotting on here. That they kind of just do that. It can be from the weather, the moisture and stuff, because you'll see this on roses a lot and stuff. It will not kill your plant. They just get this naturally, the spotting. So don't be worried about that with these guys. They will grow out of it. They just need to be planted and in the ground. That's what you'll find most your natives. They look way prettier when they're in the ground and planted. They can't do anything while they're in these pots. So yeah, I say so. I'm not sure if it's on the list exactly, but it is the hardier one for here. She asked if it was on the Firewise plant list thing. Okay. My favorite thing, which you'll see, people will get obsessed over this stuff when it starts blooming in April, is the brooms. So I don't have any Spanish broom. That's one most people know. That's big Spanish broom, yellow flowers. But I've got the Scotch broom. And I also brought, this is the Lena. This is an orange-yellow mix. And I also have a pink one down there I didn't bring up, because they all look the same. They just get different flowers. So this whole thing will be flowers in like end of March, April, as soon as we get warm. All flowers. So people love it. Again, put it on irrigation for a year, take it off, don't touch it. You really don't need to trim it back either, but you can if you want, like half it. You can get very harsh in this guy because it grows fast and it will grow big. But solid for an area that you want to just fill. This one, I think it's 4x4, 6x6. So the Spanish broom, I think, is like 8. It gets way bigger. These guys stay a little bit smaller. And they're about the same for both sides, 6x6. Yeah, I would. Just make those blooms go bigger and longer. Because otherwise you're looking at greenness. So I'd rather see the flowers for longer. Okay, just a couple things that aren't evergreens, but I was excited that we brought them in because this tells me spring is coming, is the forsythias and the lilacs. You can tell they're getting their blooms. They're going to pop here in the next month. I just got excited for these are the early spring bloomers that are yellow. Again, get you that color earlier, and then they'll put on their leaves. So flowers first, then leaves. These guys are bloomerang lilacs. These will bloom twice in a season for you. So not just once, you won't get it in the spring and be done. You can get another season of bloom. well. So that's why I like the bloomerangs. And this is a dwarf variety, so this gets like 4x4. This one is 4x4 as well, I think. 5x4. So these ones stay smaller, but I've got all sizes, all colors, everything in lilacs. The Scythias are only ever yellow, so I can't give you any other colors besides that. Yeah, on both of these guys. Yeah, so they will lose their leaves. Nothing eats them, nothing. Everything that you see on this table, deer and stuff won't eat. The little ones might nibble on some stuff, but they do not like any of these plants. So you'll safe in that. Now we're getting into our last sun plant. This is our only vine, and this is a semi-perennial. Hold on. Semi-evergreen. So as you can tell, it's got some leaves on it still. It has been in our greenhouse, but I've got 4 planted out in the yard. They still got all their leaves on it. So if we have a really cold winter, like 0 or below, which we very rarely get, it will drop all of its leaves just to kind of protect itself. But if we have a winter like this, it will keep its leaves and doing fine. So if you want a vine evergreen, this is the best you got. This is a Hall's honeysuckle, and it also smells gorgeous. It's beautiful smell. Bees love it. Hummingbirds love it. Butterflies love it. Everything loves it. So this is just a great vine for you guys. So it can do both. Prefers the sun if you want more flowers. But if you need a shade spot, you can do it in the shade. It just won't give you as many flowers. And it can be trained up, or if you take out the bamboo sticks, it can be more of like a shrub form, but it doesn't have a defined space where it will grow. It just kind of grows until it's done. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, not a problem. She asked if she could trim it because hers is more of a shrub form. Yes, you can trim it. It'll be fine. It'll grow very fast for you in a season. Okay. Any questions before I move into the shade evergreens? These are the prettier ones. Yeah. So, pretty stuff. We'll start with the ones that have bloomed the most. So we've got rhododendrons and azaleas. I'll show you the rhodies first. So as you can tell, these guys have bigger leaves, bigger flowers. All of these heads here are going to be flowers. So it is a very full plant. It can only handle morning sun or late evening sun. It cannot do afternoon. So under a tree, by a fence that's got shade, things like that, under a porch, any of that stuff, it can handle. All can be done in containers or in the ground. It doesn't matter, they can go in both. So that's the difference. You got these ones too. We created this one as more of a smaller flower, but it's more full. So all the heads again are going to be flowers, but they're just smaller. They're over the whole plant instead of just at the top here. So, and this one's dark purple. This is their kind of new series. They're coming out with these dark ones. But is it rhodies or rhodies? So very pretty plants. I got all the colors. I got red, pink, purple. I got like all of them that you can get. Mm-hmm. Nope. Nope. You are fine to just leave them out here if you want. Yeah. Oh, she's said in the wintertime in the containers, do they need to be covered or protected or anything? No. The thing I would say is that anything in containers, even in the ground, we have a huge snowstorm coming, like we were supposed to have one this week. We knew it was coming. If you water all your stuff very heavy and well, it protects it against the storms. So if you have storms coming, you got containers, water those all down really well, and it protect things that you won't need to do dirt or cover, things like that. Yeah. More moderate, they're not super heavy, but they do probably need it once or twice a week. Just once, especially when they're blooming, because it takes more energy. Once the blooms are out, you can lessen the water. No, no, because the pot will determine its size and it will stop it from getting too big. Yeah. The other one is, oh, did I grab any? This is a rhododendron as well. It's just a smaller variety. So you can tell the leaf size on all these. Again, full of flowers, just smaller leaves. It depends on what you prefer and what you like. But there's no difference in size, no difference in watering or anything like that. And this is an azalea. So kind of the same look as the smaller rhododendron. These guys have smaller flowers. This has more of a double flower as well. This is the rosebud azalea, so it has more of a double bloom. To it, it's not just a single flower, it's got almost two in it. There's others with single. This is pink, I got purple and all that. A little bit smaller leaf, and it is a little bit smaller plant, not by much, probably like a foot or two difference in size. So if you need something smaller, go for this one. But this is pretty. I love these guys. I just wish I had the shade to grow them. That's the problem here. We don't have shade. All right. This is a sun one. I wish I had better to show you. Yet. This is Lily of the Valley. So little afternoon shade. You can kind of see it. This is its flower. It's kind of a cluster of yellow or white flower. So that's its flower. They're going to open up here in about a month as soon as we get warm. This one I pulled because it is great under a tree if you have, because under trees are very dark. You can't see anything. Green plant, you're not going to see it. This provides you with that two definition color, so you can see it under trees. So it just provides a different, brighter look. So you're not like, what's there? What's under there? You'll see it, and it is very beautiful. Nothing touches it. Deer won't eat it. Things like that. Minimal water, probably once a week, once it's in the ground. Once it's established, 2 or 3 times a month. That's it, maybe. I don't like to be overly wet. But again, shade plant. Iris is the other name, if people know it by that name. Most people know it as Lily of the Valley. These guys I brought because they mutated them, changed their DNA so you could get berries on it because they have the male and female parts to them. That one better. I'll show you that. So this is the Berry Magic Kids Holly combination, and this is the Berry Magic Royalty. So anything that says Berry Magic has both the male and female, so you can get berries on it. So that's some hollies you got to get two. You have to have someone next to it that's a male. This does it for you. So you only need one. They get very big. They need to be under a shade of a tree or wish more and minimal water. I would say once this guy's established, maybe once or twice a month, but during its season, probably once a week until it gets established to it. Those are both these size. They get about the same size. I know this one's smaller, but smaller bucket. Same size, 4x4, 5x5, things like that, kind of medium size. They get a tinge of winter color. This is a little dark for what it normally is. They get brighter in the summer. A little more green for you. And again, the soil sulfur will make it more green, make it just more showy for you guys. Okay. Okay, let me check my notes. It's just pretty. I mean, the birds might try it, but I don't see it's their favorite. Yeah, it does kind of help feed them. Okay. Oh, another one I want to talk about that I don't have, but it's so great for the area is pyracantha. You've all seen it, you all know it. It's just a really good native for here. It feeds the birds. You have people come across your lawn, kids, and you don't want them there. Throw a pyracantha down. They'll never cross your lawn again. You know, it's perfect. They can get big and stuff, but we do have shrub ones that stay smaller. We'll get those in the summer, kind of 4x4. Otherwise, naturally, they can get up to 8 feet or so. And again, there's another one. You just rip out of the ground. If it's growing, you don't want it to grow. Rip it, cut it, do its thing. So, which brings up a good point. This is not evergreens, it's not blooming. So if you guys have junipers, big juniper shrubs that people got, if you cut those back in March, wait to do your pruning on everything right now until end of February, beginning of March when we warm up. You won't get such that woody, if you notice they get the woody chopped off look and they look horrible for the winter. If you do it right around March and they get that new growth in April, you won't get that horrible look for so long. It'll be fresher, it'll grow out faster for you if you wait and cut. So I know people have got questions on roses we've had a lot. Do not cut your roses until end of February, beginning of March. I would say more mid-March, beginning of March, because we've been so cold. It's been a really weird winter. So I would wait to do your roses and everything until beginning of March. Don't cut your lilacs or forsythias right now because you'll lose your blooms. You usually cut those back August, September. So I know this isn't cleaning class, but people have had questions, so I thought I would do a quick snippet about that. Any questions for me? Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Not completely, but you can give it a nice hard chop. As long as you leave probably like 3 feet or so, you'll be fine to come back from that. Don't cut it all the way down to the ground. You can do. I would do it in March. Um, yes. Mhm. And you said animals. You've got animals and stuff. Okay. Yeah. So there's nothing completely that's a native that doesn't require water. So she asked about watering the shade plants. What could be more hardy than others? I would say probably your hollies are going to be your hardiest, just because they can store that water more than these guys, because they'll throw all their energy into the flower. So I'd say your hollies, camellias are actually very hardy. The only time they're not is when they're blooming. You got to give them more water. Not a whole lot, because shade plants they like the water, but they can hold water longer because they're in the shade. So they all can actually go a little bit longer than the full sun stuff. There's nothing specific. Once it's established, probably once or twice a month, maybe a little bit more in the summer if it's a little hotter. Starting out, probably once a week, just to get it established. Mhm. Yeah, so basically it gets them so the freeze doesn't happen as it just kind of insulates it. It's insulation. So you would think that the water would freeze and freeze out the plants, but we don't freeze more than like a foot down here. So those roots are usually fine. They don't freeze. They just need help getting moisture through the storm. It just feeds into the stems and all of that and just kind of keeps it all insulated. I don't know the exact science. I just know it helps. Doesn't it is. Yeah, it's the anti. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's sometimes the they throw that bark down and stuff to protect it. You don't need to do that here. You can if you wish. You don't need to do that here, but that's the thing. It helps the tissue, gives you the anti-freeze. Yeah, 1 or 2 days. It doesn't need to be drastically before because it'll dry out too fast. But yeah, just a couple days. Yeah. Yeah. Plus, you don't want your hoses to freeze. You want to empty that stuff out. Anyway, I would do anything, especially your newly planted stuff. If the things are under a year old, right there in your yard, definitely give them water before storm hits, even if they're planted in the ground. Just it helps. Anything else? I don't talk as much as Ken, you think I would, but oh, really? Breathing? That's not a thing. You don't breathe here. I'm teaching more classes, but I still gotta get used to it. Yeah. So yes. So there's a season for it. Kind of past it, so I'm not gonna get any new ones in. We bring them in the end of December. I carry them until we sell them. So we like to sell them early because of their blooming season. I got a ton. I just don't have a lot of the white ones, but they come in red, pink, and white. Yeah. Yes, because there are some that do not grow here that people will sell and they'll die out in the winter and stuff. So you got to make sure they grow here in the Arizona 7B. If you're in the Prescott area or Dewey, if you're further out, they're a little bit different. Yeah, yeah, not a problem. That camellias, if you can put them in a pot, all this stuff can grow in a pot and be fine, except for maybe these guys because they get too big. They can all grow in pots and be fine. You just got to get them the right size. You don't want to size up too fast because it will shock them and they'll just die out for you. So you got to size them up, but they'll do fine. I didn't talk about this one, but I guess it's another vining one. Not as big. This is a periwinkle or vinca, not the summer one. This is a shade vinca, but it gives these purple flowers, and it's just gonna start budding here in about a week or so. They're all kind of opening, but this is a good vine for under trees in your shade parts. It's another solid vine if you don't want more of a shrub look, is this guy. And I'll have a lot more in the spring. I just have these little guys for now, but they're beautiful plants. And nothing touches them, nothing eats them. The baby deer might chew on them a little bit, but then they won't touch them from there. So yeah, you're good, don't worry. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, so I would do it in March. I'm not sure exactly what you have. Most things can be planted in March here, and they do great. If you get your hole before the heat comes, they'll be nicer. Like I'm in a home when they wake up. You can do it in March. And since our dirt here sucks, did you just lowered it? Is the premium mulch. You mix with anything that's going to the ground, not in containers or things like that, in the ground. You do 1 part this to 2 parts native soil. And that will help with that dead dirt that we've got. This just lightens up the soil. It helps and also helps with moisture because it's got that bark stuff in it. It's fine. It's got a couple wood chips and stuff. This is our compost version. You come from the Midwest or something, they always say, "Where's your compost?" I'm like, "This is it." They're like, "No, it's not." It is. So for here, we made this as our compost, not the manure, things like that that you see out front. We just- No problem. Yeah. Okay. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Is it 4 feet, 4 or 5 feet? Okay. Yeah. I would do holly would be my first one because they get bigger than most other things. Some of the roadies, the bigger size roadies, can get up that tall without going over and blocking. Um, and then your camellias, I would say, because they can get pretty big, about that 5 foot range without blocking. Those would be my top three for that shade. Yeah, anything here and everything we've got is a great planting season is March and October, September. So you're coming into a good one because once that heat hits, not that you can't plant, you're just gonna be watering that sucker like crazy to get those roots out. So I mean, that's why March is a good time. We're warm. We're not as cold as like December, January has been. We're not getting that, but as cold at night, so things do better. Alrighty. Yeah. Yeah, they are different. I think you guys are more clay out there in PV than we are here. We still have clay everywhere, but we're a little bit more rocky here. So there is a difference in watering, not by much. It'd be more like how many days do you water? So instead of and people here do not water heavy enough. They water too often and not heavy enough. Here, especially, and this is PV, Dewey, Chino. Heavier waterings less often work way better here than anything else. So your landscapers will tell you 10 minutes a day, every day. Do not do that. And I know it's one irrigation system. You got flowers and shrubs and trees. Things like here need way heavier watering because to get that down in the soil and hydrate it and get your roots going down. A lot of times, if they do that, the roots will stay shallow. You get the winds, and it'll knock over everything. Hmm. Yeah, that's hard because it depends on what you're watering and what the drip size is and all of that. So we can talk more afterwards if to get more specific. Yeah, your flowers probably 20, 30, your shrubs are probably 30 to 45, and your trees are can be anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, depending on the so that's also depending on the plant. So trees like it more once a week, break it up, feed them. Shrubs are the same way. They tend to like to have it once and be done, maybe twice. Flowers and stuff are gonna need it maybe every couple of days. So that's just it's just a tricky question. Okay. Yeah, you're probably watering maybe once, maybe twice in your shrubs, depends on the shrubs. And then make watering. Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, right now, yeah, it just goes with the weather. You got to play it by ear. But in the summer, is it established, good established lawn? I mean, you're probably watering 2 to 3 times a week if it's a really harsh summer, maybe twice. You're watering often. But you don't have to water as long because the root system isn't as long. You don't have to keep it on for hours at a time. Just do your sprinkler system and then kind of you'll be done. Yeah. Tough questions. They're all very specific. It's all good. It's tough here. Uh-huh. No. Yeah, mostly they're going for the cottonwoods or those big trees. That's where I see a lot of them go towards. So you've got those around. They're just totally chance for you, but not really. They don't do a lot of damage here. They're just annoying in terms of their noise, or they're beautiful in their noise, depending on what you like. So, right? Yeah. Once you live here for a while, you tune it out, but yeah. Javelina go with after whatever they want, but they shouldn't touch these guys. If maybe if you got grubs in your ground or things like that, like they just ripped up my Virginia creeper, which they shouldn't touch, but they ripped it up because they're getting desperate. So there's always a chance it's not something they like to do. All of these. Get rid of those suckers. We don't need those. Oh yeah, can't go out there. Right, yeah, a lot of people BB guns. They'll do that. I'll get back to you once that can. Yeah. She has to have black spot and watering and stuff like that. So yes, it does tend to come about because of watering, and a lot of these have it this year because of the monsoon and a heavy winter. So if it's deciduous, it fell off. Yeah, you don't have to worry about it. It will take care of itself. You just gotta clean up the leaves so that new growth doesn't get infected. If it's an evergreen that got it, like one of these guys, there's fungal sprays you can do, or like a soil drench. I might do a soil drench because it's happening in your root system, and it can help. It won't get rid of what's already there, but it'll help the new growth not get infected. Yeah, so I got that down there too. You had a question. Yeah, and I would do that more in March when they start coming up. But yeah, so you only use this once a year if you can, and you use this 3 or 4 times a year. The all-purpose. So once a year, 3 to 4 times a year, and you're golden if you keep on it year after year. Do this once a year. I mean, I would probably use it twice a year or so. You don't need to do it as often because it's just feeding the soil. It does 5,000 square feet, so there's a lot. But like twice a year. I mean, whenever you're getting ready to do your vegetables and stuff, that's when about time you use those. Right. Sulfate? Yep, once a year, starting March. Yeah, the only time that you would use a product like this in the fall is on your early bloomers. So in October is when you would do these again, kind of more the soil sulfur on the forsythias, the lilacs, because it will help them come out and bloom better for you. come spring. That's the only time I would do this in the fall is on those early bloomers. And again, if you've had some things, like I know, I think this year will be here on things not reblooming. I've had people come in, they're like, my plant hasn't bloomed in 5 years. Don't know what's happening. It's growing fine. The leaves come out fine. It just doesn't bloom for you. That's because of this. This is what will help with that. Probably you don't have it in your soil or it washed out. So you just need to keep that on. One other thing I'm watering, I can remember as a passes. Nope, I lost it. My notes, because it was fertilizers. So if you use liquid fertilizers like the Scott's or the Miracle-Gro, things like that, you don't want to use those on your evergreens, your trees, your stuff in the ground because it waters out way too fast here, and you're just losing half your products. So you're paying less, using more often, and it's going out, leaching into the ground, into your water system, stuff like that. So that's why we suggest granules, and ours are all organic and stuff. The only reason our fruit and vegetables organic. The only reason it's not is because the minerals in it. Minerals can't be organic. So that's the reason this is in. But this sticks around longer. Slower release, doesn't wash out to your system. So yes, you're paying more, but you're using it, you're not using as much than your liquids. So that's the only reason I have to say about that. Your liquids also be like very synthetic and very high, like 10, 10, 10, stuff like that. 744 doesn't overwhelm your plant. It doesn't fertilize it out by giving it too much. So, this is really just anytime you have a new plant. You can do it once a year if you find that something's drying out super fast. You can use that. The humic twice a year, kind of March and October. Yeah. Any other questions? They can. If you've got the weed bear tends to let things through, it's usually fine. If you got that plastic or stuff, those are the old homes, they got that plastic. Nothing will get through that. You've got to create holes. You've got to do that. But if it's that fabricy stuff that can get through, you're fine. I've never noticed it really affecting water to plants. I would say both together are always better, but the wheat bear will not stop everything, but it does help. I think both work great. I don't have a preference. Yeah, the pre-emergent, by the way, use it now. That's that to any of those weeds are starting to form, they're starting to put on heads and things. You want to get that pre-emergent down before they start seeding. It'll help lessen what you have to pick this year. As soon as they germinate, as soon as they seed, you can't use the pre-emergent, it won't help. So use it in March. If you got off the weed, use it in March. Weeds, not weeds, sorry. Political. Anything else? Otherwise, we'll call it good. You can ask me questions, of course, after the class. And again, if you haven't signed up for the handouts that came later, 3 handouts are sending out after class. So give your email there. All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.